It's our time. It's our time.
Hey there, I'm Shub from North of Normal, and welcome to One Song, One Story. The concept is simple. Each guest brings a song that means something real to them, and together we explore what's behind it. The memories, the moments, the madness, and the meaning. Today, I'm joined by Marc-John Brown, a true force of nature, a coach, a medicine man, an activist and defender of Indigenous rights, an entrepreneur, and someone I'm hugely proud to call my friend. He's brought a super interesting song choice, so fasten your seatbelts and let's find out where this song takes us. Enjoy! Welcome to the One Song, One Story podcast, Marc-John Brown. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much. It feels very special to be here. I am well. Thank you very much. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing what I love. Usually I record these in evenings due to people's availability, but we've got a morning slot and I'm feeling bright. The sun's shining, so I'm feeling good.
That's cool.
And how's your day been so far? What's been the highlight?
Yeah, all good. Hey, I mean, your weather can say more to, joy than what the weather over here can say because it's pretty rainy. Morning's been all right. Yeah. We're moving with the seasons right now and actively, moving slowly in the mornings. And so we don't like wake our son up from bed. We just let him wake naturally and then allow the day to kick in. So it's been relatively slow and just the way we like it at this stage of the year.
Like it. And if your day-to-day was a song, what would be the title of that song and what would be the vibe?
If my day-to-day were a song, what would be the title of that song and what would be the vibe? Holy moly. Upbeat, informal, tropical. That's the vibe. Upbeat, informal, tropical, celebratory, joyful, colorful, fluorescent. Yes, that's the vibe. What's the title? Waves of Wonder.
Wow. That's the acronym. Wow. Waves of Wonder.
Wow.
What a beautiful title.
Wow.
And I also love the description of the vibe.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I think that fits well. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I've been meaning to tell you actually that you were the key you inspired me through a sequence of events to create this podcast. I don't think I've ever told you that, but your daughter, Luna, is at the School of Humanity and he shared something with me which had a video of this 12-year-old kid being interviewed. And he was like, yeah, well, I discussed this on my podcast. And I was like, this 12-year-old kid's got a podcast. And I was like, wow, maybe I should start a podcast. And then things happened pretty rapidly. Within an hour, I was like, I know what the podcast is going to be. I've got the title. A few days later, I was sending out invites. So thank you very much for giving me that spark. And here we are.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. That is super, super beautiful. And what it shows as well is that you are deeply tapped into creativity, which I know is one of the topics that we're going to talk about today. So wonderful.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things I like to do at the start is explore a song that connects us both in some way, whether there's a song that I remind you of that comes to your mind. For me, I don't always choose my own songs, but this one actually makes sense because you very kindly offered me a 2-hour free discovery coaching session. And in that coaching session, I was talking about interviews in the corporate world and trying to bring my energy up. And you were talking about how you often body drum and do various body practices and sing. And you asked me, like, I wonder if there's some music or a song that you can sing to yourself that would get you fired up. And in that moment, within about 10 seconds, I kind of had this chorus come into my head, which is one of my songs, which is the soundtrack of your life. I sent it to you, it's about stepping stones and stuff like that. So that all happened on that session. I record it afterwards. So whenever I think of you now, that song is playing in my head, just the soundtrack of your life. So thank you again for that gift. Creativity comes from strange places. And that day it happened to be a lovely question on one of your coaching sessions. So thank you.
Ah, the gift, hey, the gift. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah, it's good to know that, I have been a little bit of a, I guess, complementary, influencing element or addition to your life. And that is absolutely mutual because you've really, provided some incredible levels of support over the past few months. So it's good to hear that. And what I will say about just, I mean, I can't, because it's been a while since I've heard that song. I remember the fly by super high, yeah, upbeat for sure. But it's like it was a high vibrational song, and the one thing that like just gave me this slap across the face of absolute wonder and joy was the words or the term stepping stone. It's a stepping stone, and I
Yeah.
remember that is one of the things that came up in your coaching session was like, we were discussing like if we could reframe some things to stepping stones, certain parts of that session. And I think that hit home for you. And then you went away and made a song. And when I listened to it back,
Mm.
I heard like that those two words, stepping stone, jumped out at me and gave me this jolt of joy. And I was like, man, like,
Yeah.
so yeah, our relationship, man, is very much reciprocal. There is a very complementary, beautiful thing going on.
Yeah. No, it feels that way. And I think that's why I've been so excited to get you on. And you have brought a great song, and we will get there. But before we do, I kind of want to explore your relationship with music, creativity, and before we jump in. So, would you describe yourself as a creative person?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. My biggest amount of creativity comes from the combination of my voice box with my mind. Um,
Mm.
and whether that be singing or speaking, that's the biggest channel for my creativity. Like rapping, speaking, being rhythmical, and channeling ideas in powerful, I guess eloquent, if you want to say it. Yeah, that's the biggest source of my creativity. Energy comes, energy is expressed through the voice. But also, I am generally very rhythmical, and it's a strange thing, because not so strange, but just deeply interesting and intriguing because, like so many of the world's like highest ranking songs, most listened to, most impactful, like most household kind of name songs throughout
Mm.
history, they've come from places of darkness, right? And deep emotional turmoil and that dark place of pain, discomfort. And yeah, it's a fertile soil. And I think my rhythm was developed. The biggest stint of development in my rhythmical literacy was on a old-fashioned metal sink where I was having to wash dishes, right? I was having to wash dishes in soapy water by hand, no dishwasher, in an emergency accommodation. We were in a really, like, really, really tough stage of life many years ago. What was it, 2000? I think it was like 2015, 16, something like that. And,
Mm.
like I was in this stage where I was like just trying to contribute to our house and just like trying to create harmony in our household in very, very, very difficult times in that emergency accommodation given to us by the government. And the sink was so basic and metallic. It was just a shell of metal, but geez, the acoustics on it were phenomenal. So my
Mm.
rhythm, like I would just, Erica's like, what's taking you so long to do those dishes? Like, yeah, I'm fucking listening to music and peppering rhythm on
You're like,
top
the
of
dishes
whatever
were
I'm
done
hearing.
ages ago.
Yeah, so that's kind of hopefully that's like in a nutshell, yeah, an answer to your question.
I can relate so much to that. There's nothing that brings me more joy than sitting down on a seat and you tap it and you're like, that's got a great sound. Or like stomping your foot on a floor and you're like, yeah, I've got to come back here and do so.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
talked about the rhythm and using things around you to create, to sort of make sound. But do you think that was something that's always been within you that you just learned to kind of to let out, or that emerged at that point?
Yeah, no, I think it's always been there. I mean, my very first, like, I mean, as a child, I learned violin. I played a little mini primary school orchestra, but I was never like poof. I was never anything special on the violin, that's for sure. I really didn't pick up music until I was in my adult years, beyond like 19, 20 years old. Yeah. Late teens, early
Mm.
adulthood. My first instrument that was like my breakthrough into the world of like musical literacy was the didgeridoo, of all things, right?
Wow.
And everybody across the world, you know, within what, like a year or something, I was across in Berlin at this didgeridoo festival where like all of the top names around the world in the world of didgeridoo were there, and there was like this open mic opportunity, and like I got up on stage to just have my shot at the open mic. You know, everybody just taking turns, and it's such a beautiful atmosphere as well because it's a small community. Everybody's just like really like supportive and whatever. They just love didgeridoo, you know. And so I got up on stage and I blasted out some of my drones and toots and whatnot, and you know, some of the top guys in the world came up to me afterwards, like, "Man, super rhythmical stuff, like really rhythmical, great
Wow.
musicality, you know, great musicality." They came up to me and said that. I was like, wow, okay. Thank you for that compliment. But that is exemplary of how, you know, yeah, like rhythm lives within me. And hey, the didgeridoo, as much as it is a wind
Mm.
instrument, it is a percussion instrument as well. It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of loved the way when I first asked you the question about creativity, you didn't go for music or art or any recognized sort of creativity. You talked about your body and your thoughts and your voice. And that's quite powerful. There's just something in that harmonious relationship between them all that feels like that's your creativity that you deliver to the world. And you may find a sync where you can let it out onto that sync, or you may find a didgeridoo, but it's like always coming through you.
yeah, man, for sure. We go train jujitsu, and like they've got sewage pipes, obviously unused sewage pipes, that they use for putting across their shoulders and like stretching and stuff. You know, I as soon as I go in, the first thing I do is pick them up and blow drones through them and use them as didgeridoos, literally. But I think that I think really are like where the cosmos meets the earth, right? It's that our
Mm,
bodies are the meeting point between heaven and earth, right? Like our bodies are the meeting point between cosmos and earthly realms, and so it makes sense that, you know, like whatever's like in my mind or in my psyche or wanting to come through me, like it will either be expressed, you know, like with my body or with my voice, right? Like, yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful. And in terms of music itself, what are your kind of earliest memories of music? As in, do you have an early memory of hearing a song and being like, oh my God, that's a great song?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a great question. My earliest memories. Hey, you are taking me to places right now, bro. So I'll tell you, I'll tell you the trajectory that I just went through. I'll keep it brief. But first it was, do you believe in life after love? Right?
Yeah.
And then I went a little bit deeper, and I could remember seeing the, oh my goodness, it was on MTV or something, the music video of this song Saturday Night.
Yeah.
I can't remember the
Wigfield.
lyrics. Yeah, there you go. And then and I repeated to myself earliest, and I was like, can I dig deeper than that? Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I can dig deeper than that. Okay, cool. So like, how old am I? Probably like 5 years old, maybe four. I don't know, 5, 4. I'm at this
Mm.
place in oh, what's it called? Marco's Pool Hall. Doesn't exist anymore. It's been turned into student flats like many other buildings in the capital of Scotland. But when it did exist, we used to go there. There was a community center where there was karate lessons and whatever, but they had this play place called Marco's. It was full of like bouncy castles and like, you know, those ball pits and all that stuff. And it was the hokey cokey, man. It was like somebody's birthday party at that
Oh.
place. Hokey cokey cokey, hokey cokey cokey. That's like, I think that's the earliest memory that I have of music, brother. Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 young kids that, I get down to that quite a lot lately. It's a great tune.
Yeah, it is, man. What is it? Left hand in, left hand out. Shake it all
Yeah.
about. Something like that. Yeah.
I often think about these songs like that and nursery rhymes. You know, nowadays, like everyone releases a song and someone owns it. Someone's like making some money off it somewhere. And all these
Yeah.
old school nursery rhymes and songs like that are just like gifts. No one really knows where they came from. They've just been around and they get passed down from generation to generation. I find that fascinating, like, because it's so common in so many other cultures to pass down, you know, music and stories. And we've got things like the hokey cokey.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but hey, like, it's beautiful in and of itself. Like, that's what's passed down, right? Like, I don't know. I have no idea where it comes from. And that, not having a clue where it comes from, but recognizing that it is kind of emblematic of a culture and significant, to a culture, that is the essence of folk music. That's the
Yeah.
essence of folk. So that's a beautiful thing. Let's celebrate that and do the hokey cookie.
Yeah. And how have your musical tastes evolved from then? Because I kind of, from Wigfield and Cher and the hokey cokey, have they broadened as you've aged?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I went through a stage. I went through a really I was just, troubled household, being plugged into multiple different cultures that were that were literally being my saving grace in a troubled childhood. And like hip hop became
Mm.
a bit of a safe haven for me. It was like a safe haven of belonging but also a lot of like misguidance within the era of like Eminem with Dr. Dre and Death Row Records,
Yeah.
and I mean like the impact of that music on the youth across the world, including me. I was, like in primary 7, I was listening to what is that? I remember having the single, Eminem single, CD single, where he was wearing dungarees with a ladder. I think he was painting a building. I can't remember what that single was called, but man, at like primary 7, I was first exposed to Eminem, and that took me onto Dr. Dre, and that took me into like all sorts of depths, like Hitman, Melman, and I think I didn't start like till later on. I didn't start getting into like Kendrick Lamar and more kind of less
Mm.
deviant, less mischievous, less antisocial, let's
Yeah.
just say. But I was embroiled with that antisocial thing, and of course the over sexualization that comes with that, and like the objectification of women and whatnot. That took hold of me for a good few years, man. And
Mm.
between like 10 and 14, 15, something like that, I was like deep into that stuff, man. I was proper idolizing all those guys, especially since being white and coming from a white family that was giving me so much fucking trouble in life was
Mm.
like not a nice experience. And what was a nice experience was being with all these other ethnic minorities, right? And I was identifying so much. Like I almost wanted to be black at at that stage of my life,
Mm.
like between like 10 and 14, 15, something like that. And then it evolved massively as I started to mingle with travelers and, started to travel myself. And, I think that actually, funnily enough, the song that we're going to talk about today, listening to that song is what just blew my entire musical world open, and why I've chosen it today, because then I became like an out world music guy, and now I
Yeah.
would, if somebody would be like, if you were to fit yourself into a category of like, if you were to call yourself a this guy or a that guy, what type of music would it be? I would hands down say like, yeah, I'm a world music guy for sure. All the languages, all the rhythms, all the instruments, all the ethnic instruments,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's me.
That's so cool. What a great genre to pick, the world. Maybe you should broaden out and just be like universe.
Hey, my daughter at School of Humanity right now is studying this thing called the Golden Record. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it was sent out on this thing called
No?
Voyager 1. So basically NASA in the 1980s, I think it was, they sent out two, like, I don't know if they were satellites or just like floating space objects, but on one of those objects, they sent almost like a letter in a bottle that you send across the ocean, hoping that somebody's going to pick it up. Same thing. They sent this record, like a vinyl record, full of sounds of the earth. All the languages, all the sounds, waves, trees, wind, all the elements, they just like put it on this record
Wow.
and sent it out into space, hoping that our space brothers out there would hear what it's like to be on Earth. Right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Wow. I love the concept, but I was hoping you were going to say they sent like a Prince album out up into space. Maybe that's where they went wrong. Everyone's
Maybe
like, I've
that's
got
why
to meet
nobody's
this
replied
guy.
yet. Yeah, love it.
And what role does music play in your life now? Because you're a man that wears many hats. You're a father, as we've said. You lead plant medicine ceremonies. Kind of, how does music show up in your life right now?
Well, inside ceremony, it's music and sound is absolutely fundamental to the ceremonial experience. It's a very different texture of sound and music, but that's integral to the ceremonial space. And the ceremonial space is the microcosm of my macrocosmic existence, which has a relationship with nature. And when it's time to speak to trees or plants or the earth, like song just comes, like song is the channel of communication for the elements. We want to like send a message out to the wind, to the earth, to the rain, to the trees. Like it's with song, right? It's with song that happens. But also it unifies my family. We have shared interests in music, one of which is a core to which is the song that we're going to discuss today, and the band and the genre. So it like unifies my family. It helps me get like shift from state to state. So if I need like a hardcore gym training state, I know that I have my playlist for that. And I think like if I need to focus and like organize my thoughts so that I can get into work mode, I have my vibe for that, my playlist for that. So it helps me to shift state. It's a tool for shifting state. It's a channel of communication with the natural world. It's a unifying element of an integral unifying part of my family's life and an everyday thing. Life cannot be lived without sound and music. I think we might die without it.
Wow. And I wouldn't want to find out. That was a beautiful answer, dude. Really beautiful answer. And as much as I could go on talking forever, I feel like we've mentioned the song a few times and I feel like we should probably bring it in. So, but before we do, just a quick heads up for anyone tuning in for the first time. This isn't a deep dive into music theory or production hacks. This show is about the stories behind the songs and the way they've become part of who we are. So if you haven't heard the track we're about to explore, take a second to pause, give it a listen, and then come back. I think you'll feel the conversation will hit a little deeper once the song's in your ears. So after that public service announcement, Marc-John Brown, what is the song that you brought with you today, sir?
El Chan Chan by the Buena Vista Social Club.
Yes, with full pronunciation there from a beautiful Spanish speaker. Thank you very much.
Of course.
We're going to get into this. We're going to set the scene, but always curious to know from when I approached you about this, what was your process to deciding this song? Was it an easy choice or were there many options that you had to wrestle with?
It wasn't easy, but it was simple. And the simple reason for that is because there was only one, like I went from my childhood all the way through to right now. And there was only one common thread that like wove its way through the entirety of my life. And it was the vibe and the essence of this song, even although I did not hear it for the first time until I was 19 years old.
Wow, but the essence has always been there.
Yes, absolutely.
That is very cool. And I'd love to get into that. But you mentioned there, you first heard it at 19 years old. So set the scene. Who were you? Where were you? How did you come across this song?
I was in La Lucila, a part of la provincia de Buenos Aires, the Buenos Aires province, not Capital Federal, which is like the capital city of Buenos Aires, but in the wider province of Buenos Aires, Buenos Aires province. La Lucila, which, you know, is a place that holds many memories for me. Primarily one large apartment that I used to frequent very often, where a whole bunch of my mates used to live. It was owned by one of those mates, and a whole bunch of my other mates lived there. And I was just hanging out on a absolutely blisteringly beautiful sunny day in Buenos Aires. The balcony doors were open, like there was a little breeze coming in. There was a lovely marijuana plant on the balcony. It was just letting in this like lovely little aroma. And yeah, it was bright. It was such a beautiful bright day, and it was only me and my friend Juaco at home, and he was waiting. So he used to run his business from that apartment, and he is like how would you say it, like a kind of cultural promoter, advocate, music producer type guy, right? Like helps artists have places to perform their stuff. And so he was waiting. He was waiting. He was walking around drinking mate just like I am now.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was waiting for a meeting. He was waiting for somebody important to come in. I can't remember who it was, where he was going to, you know, shake their hand, welcome them into his little like home office, sit them down and have an interview with them. And there was just this vibe. There was a playlist on, you know. I can't remember any of the other songs that were played that day, but this song came out of the speakers. I'm 19 years old, right? Living in Argentina at the time. And I was just like, whoa, what is that song? Bloody hell, what is that? Set the scene, like sun, little breeze coming in, blowing the scent of the marijuana plant into the lounge where I was sitting, like, and that in the background. I had a little cup of sweet black coffee in my hand as well, you know, and I'm just sitting there, just like being in the moment. And I'm just like, wow, that song. And that, of course, then that was it. That right there, I really truly believe is what like catapulted me into this world music connoisseur. So yeah, that's and I had to ask him, well, what's the name of the song, by the way? Like he was playing it on, actually, I think it was, yeah, it was on CD. It was on a CD.
Yeah.
Just a mixtape type thing that he had on. And I had to ask him, and I took note of it. I was like, well, fuck, like bookmarked, you know, we're going to come back to that. And yeah, that was the scene.
I love the scene. I was there, man. I was in the sun getting a waft of the marijuana plant. When you dropped in the sweet coffee, delicious. And I love the way you remember it as this pivotal moment where you were like, world music is my jam. That's amazing. And so you're in this beautiful scene. This song comes on. Curious to know what hit you first, and in general, kind of how music hits you. You know, do you listen? Was it the lyrics, the sound, the energy, or something indescribable in it that kind of took you where it took you?
It is kind of indescribable, man. But if I try to describe it, I would say that it's like this. I would say that it's this gentle tropicality. You know, this almost romantic tropicality. You know. That's what hit me. It was just like, oh, it's so endearing. It's like, oh my goodness, pull on the heartstrings, you know, not in a like, you know, like deeply kind of, you know, longing for romance type of thing. No, not that type of like romantic. It was just like, yeah, this little pull on my heartstring, like, whoa, you know, this is delicious. This is truly delicious. And it's like, it is romantic as well. It's romantic, you know. Even though I might not have fully understood, because it's full of Cuban jargon and slang, I fully understand it now, of course. But at the time, like I didn't really understand it, but I could feel the romance in it. You know, I could feel that, like, you know, like a gentle day on the coast of Cuba, on the coast of Havana, you know, like those little gentle waves.
Yeah.
That's what endeared me. That's what engulfed me. That's what called me. And I was like, I need to go deeper with this. And so I duly did.
Beautiful. And it is kind of fascinating the way music hits. I've talked about this with quite a few other guests. And, you know, over time, you may learn to understand songs more once you've listened to them and you start to understand the lyrics and you know what's coming. But sometimes that first time is just your body just like receiving those frequencies and being like, this makes me feel good. And then the brain may catch up way later, but something in your body was just like, yes, this is a beautiful vibe.
That's
And
it.
it kind of
The
does
body
sound
as a
so
thermometer.
it does sound so Cuban as well. And maybe I'm kind of influenced by, whenever you watch a movie, if they go to Cuba, there's certain music playing, so you kind of get familiar with that style. But it's such a beautiful kind of style of music that really does take you somewhere.
For sure, man. Like, if this has woven its way through the entirety of my life, this essence, this vibe, like what weaves its way through the entirety of Cuban music, and like what literally is the foundation of Cuban music is the
Mm,
clave, right? And you cannot
yeah,
holding you, embracing you, enveloping you, like waving its way around your body, and like, you can't deny it. And that
yeah,
is the essence of Cuban music, man. That's what Cuban music does to you.
mm,
It's like, so yeah, I get it.
yeah. And I was reading this song. It's kind of originally sort of written, not sure if it surfaced in the kind of early 80s, and then it only really surfaced and got recorded and came out about 10 years later. But it was kind of hailed as this symbol that no matter what was going on in Cuba and all the complications around their story, is this symbol of tradition still lives, and the tradition is so powerful and so beautiful that people all around the world love it. I think they kind of hailed it as like, yeah, this is us. This is what we do. This is our sound, which I find quite beautiful, that it almost feels like an anthem and a celebration of what's traditional.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, that just, yeah, your words, they just landed deep in my body. And it's so true. It's like, you look around the world and you see like the corners of most intense oppression is where the most blisteringly beautiful expressions of beauty come from. And
Mm,
Cuba and Afro-Cuban culture and spirituality and music, music is what weaves their culture and spirituality together. Again, like you look at that, it's just so symbolic of that, like it is a symbol of resistance, but not resistance in the
mm.
Che Guevara way with guns and whatnot. It is like, you cannot destroy my spirit, man. No matter how
Yeah.
much weight you try to crush me with, I will not be crushed. I will continue shining. I am beautiful. I am expressive. Here I am. The world cannot deny my beauty. No matter how much shit you throw at me, here I am. Look at me. You cannot not look at me because I'm so damn beautiful.
And you mentioned, I don't know whether it was before or when we were talking. I mean, you've heard this at 19. Well, I guess before we get there, you've heard this song at 19. After you heard it, did you go and find it straight away, or did it resurface after a while?
Maybe it took me like a few months to kind of really truly go to the deeper realms of discovery with that, like because I had quite an eventful few months leading
Mm,
out after that. I hitchhiked through South America and Chile and Bolivia into Peru. But definitely when the energies settled, when I got to Peru and I met Erica, who yeah, and like things just settled a bit. When things settled a bit, like and I started to hear that, like I heard it a few times more throughout South America, but especially after settling in Peru, like that's when I really began to open up the um yeah, the discovery of that. And it was on a directly parallel basis as well. A directly parallel basis to my I guess my flourishing in the world of capoeira. I did capoeira for seven years, and I was at the peak.
wow.
I was at the absolute peak of my capoeira pathway when I was living in Cusco with Erica. Like, I mean, I was at my most powerful in the world of capoeira. And capoeira is Afro-Brazilian, You know, El Chan
Yeah.
Chan and clave music is Afro-Cuban, and they share a hell of a lot of commonalities and crossovers because the most dominant culture in there is the Yoruba culture of West Nigeria. Well, what we know today is West Nigeria, but it's, you know, West Africa, the Yoruba people. And so all that spirituality, there's so many crossovers. It's Santeria, it's the Yoruba spirituality. They're singing in Cuban
Mm.
salsa, in Cuban clave music, and in capoeira music. They are adoring the orishas, the gods of West African spirituality, Yemanja, Elegua. And yeah, there's so much of that crossover. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that there's something in there.
Mm.
That's yeah, it was hugely complimentary. Hugely complimentary. That meeting of capoeira with my discovery of the Buena Vista Social Club and my discovery of Afro-Cuban culture. It really began to blow up in big ways when I was in Cusco, living with Erica.
Very cool. And I'm going to ask you a question, a tongue-in-cheek question, because I know we both, neither of us believe in coincidence, but do you think it was a coincidence that this song arrived in your ears at that particular part of your life?
No, no, definitely not. It was the opening of the doors of the next stage of my evolution and one step further towards maturation of my being here on earth as my soul wants it to be, you know? Yeah, I think that's what
Beautiful.
happened.
And always curious, you've heard this at 19, you've lived many, many years since, and you touched on before that this has become a part of your life in very many ways. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about how the kind of your relationship with this song has evolved from the first listen to, you know, sitting with your son over breakfast, listening to this on the weekly,
I mean, on the daily, brother, on the daily. This
on the
is the
daily.
music of our household. Yeah, this is the music of our household. And my daughter is obsessed with it. She loves it. She's like, I'm listening to her beatboxing over music that we have at home, and her entire musical world, her entire rhythmical world is filtered through the Cuban clave, which is mental.
Wow.
And I think, you know, geez, man, I learned the lyrics inside out. Why did I learn the lyrics inside out? Because it was my doorway into understanding Afro-Cuban culture and the you know
Mm.
the movement of African slavery brought to the Americas. Yeah, so I went through a good few years of not actually being able to play guitar. Before I could play guitar, I went through years of just knowing the lyrics and just understanding the timing. And then my friend, who's just an absolute beast on the guitar, I mean, he is the guitarist of Sc- arguably Scotland's most famous street band. Um,
Mm.
he would just play. He would just find the chords and find the rhythm with it, and we would just sing these songs. And you know, we actually bumped into him. You know that Russia, for very obvious politically uh, oriented reasons, has a great connection with Cuba. And we were over, so we met up with Ram, this friend, in Malaysia, and then we traveled across to Langkawi Island with him. And wow, like this, talk about unifying a unifying essence. It also is a bit of a glue to our friendship because he plays the songs, I know the lyrics, we sing it together, and we just like marvel and revel
Nice.
in Cuban folklore. Yeah, it's beautiful. But so we took that to Malaysia, to Langkawi Island, and then we went to this restaurant where there's like Filipinos like managing the restaurant, and they had strong identification with their, you know, Latin American roots because there's a lot of Latin American buffalo soldiers brought by the Spanish conquistadors when they took over the Philippines. And so these managers of that restaurant really identified with that part. And they had, lo and behold, when we went into the restaurant, bloody instruments over our shoulders. I had a didgeridoo on my shoulder. He had his guitar banjo on his back. You know, we walked in to have something to eat, and boom, what are they playing? They're playing the Buena Vista Social Club, and and we just got talking to the managers, the Filipino managers, you know, and And we were like, we play this music, like, and they were like, yeah, really? Like, what if we switch the music off and you just play it live, we were like, fuck yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it. So we went up to the bar, and like, I couldn't play didgeridoo for Cuban folklore, obviously. That's the only instrument I had with me. So I was just like playing percussion on whatever I could find, and we played like El Chan Chan and El Carretero. And there was a bunch, we didn't even realize it, but there was a bunch of Russians in the restaurant, like on vacation, and they were like just going crazy, man. Um, Great memory. And I think, yeah, that was like just as we were first pregnant with our daughter, our firstborn, and because we are so connected also with salsa, the world of salsa. Yeah, our salsa helps us anchor back into Cuban folklore, and also Cuban folklore helps us anchor back into salsa, which is a really like prominent interest of ours. Yeah, and right up until today, where, like I said, literally, if my daughter's gonna ask the Google speaker or ask Siri to play a song on
Yeah.
Spotify, like it will be the Buena Vista Social Club. I walk in, she's doing her School of Humanity homework or crocheting hats, whatever. And what has she got on in the background? She's got Buena Vista Social Club. She knows the lyrics more than I do. Like the lesser known songs of theirs, she knows them inside out. And she's, constantly just making, I
Yeah.
hear her constantly doing this. It's a beautiful part of our life, to the point that we want to nurture my daughter's connection with Cuban folklore now and Cuban salsa, that we are actually in the process of bringing a Cuban salsa teacher across to stay a few nights with us and do like workshops and masterclasses
Wow.
here in Scotland. Yeah, so now you see why I chose the song, right?
I do, man. And I'm sitting here feeling like grateful that you're kind of blessed with this, not only a song that means so much for you, but the opportunity to enjoy it with your children. And I guess I have no expectation or attachment that might happen for me with my kids, but also the thought that, wow, that would be cool to sit there and with your children and watch and feel them really connect with the song that you connect with as well. That I'm sitting there thinking, wow, that must be a pretty incredible feeling.
Yeah, my wee boy as well, Timmy. He's gonna be 5 in about 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, he goes to bed as well. Like he's just doing his stuff, and like we've got that song with Omara Portuondo, the what I think the only female singer of Buena Vista Social Club, and there's a song called I think it's called Quizás, which says Quizás,
Mm.
Quizás, Quizás. And Timmy, little Timmy, when it's time to say those lyrics, he comes through and goes Quizás, Quizás,
Yeah.
Quizás. Yeah, man. And yeah, and Luna, it's just like it's another level completely, man, with Luna. She's literally taken it further than I've taken it. She
Mm.
knows the lyrics and the kind of musical makeup of songs that I have been kind of like in the background in my knowledge of
Yeah.
Buena Vista Social Club. And we
I
sometimes
love
sit,
that. And that,
I mean, multiple times we've watched the documentary, the Buena Vista Social Club documentary, and we love it. Yeah. Huge part of our lives.
yeah, I have not seen that. I'm going to check that out. I'll probably even drop a link in. If you can share that with me, I'll drop a link into the comments on this as well.
It's phenomenal, man. I will definitely drop the link. It follows them on their tour of Europe when they first came to Germany, and just the concert halls that they were selling out when they came over. So
Mm.
yeah, it's a great documentary.
Very cool. And so we've talked a lot about when you heard it, the feeling you got from it, how it's kind of evolved. I'm curious to know, now you understand the lyrics, do you take any particular meaning from the song at all?
There's lots of meaning, man,
Mm-hmm.
What I said earlier about resistance, resisting oppression and the right to exist, the right to not only exist, but the right to absolutely thrive and prosper and flourish.
Mm.
That, it carries me from West Africa to Cuba through disgusting levels of hardship into this incredible expression of beauty.
Mm.
That like no joke. I listen to the music and that's what's with me. I'm just like, wow, like vive la résistance, like that kind of vibe it brings to me, and also just like the beautiful simple expression of Latin romance, you know. Which touches me deeply because I'm married to a Latin American woman, and I, grew up with Latin Americans, and so, like our love songs in the West, it's, they're kind of, they just don't hit the same, man. They just don't hit the same. They're not as like heartwarming, tear jerking as this type of music, I think, and that's what stays with me.
Interesting. And when I find out a guest song choice, one of my favorite things to do is just dig into that song, even if I've heard it, research it, find out some cool stuff about it. And I always find it fascinating, is that I'm like, I get it. Even before I spoke to you, I get why you chose this song. And we were chatting about this before. I don't even know if you get why my thinking that it embodies your journey so much. But when I was
Made me curious for sure.
Yeah, looking at the song and the themes and the symbolism and all this sort of stuff, I will just read a few things that came up, and then it said that the symbolism is when, work and love are intertwined. And I instantly thought of you and Erica. Okay. And like the work you do together on Native Wisdom Hub, the ideas you have together where your work has become your life is love, and the love is work, and it goes round and round in terms of your joint mission for what you want to do in the world. And then there was these, again, themes and symbolism. It was suggesting roots and belonging, and time and endurance and universality. And I was like, does he know this? Like, has he chosen it because of this? Or is MJ just feeling maybe all of this on a completely different level? And maybe, when you're really into something, you don't stop, or certainly I don't, and think, I must stop and analyze this. You just feel it, So I always find it interesting to do a bit of analysis, and it always seems to come round to something that marries up beautifully with your dharma, the way you live your life, how you see the world. So I wonder, after speaking a bit about the symbolism and themes, whether that chimes with you at all.
Yeah, man, for sure. And when I heard you speaking, I kind of reflected myself on like when, or like, do I analyze? The answer was yes. When do I analyze? And I think it's when it gives me big waves of emotion, because it's like when I get big waves of emotion, it's like you can't not notice that. You have to stop and be like, whoa, that was big, like. And then I analyze, and I'm like, well, what was it that stirred that, man? Wow, what was it that stirred that, for sure? And so, like, pretty much everything you've just said is for sure 100% like aligned with, my exploration of what this song does for me, and why it's, for me, the perfect, the perfect song to be bringing here. I think the only thing that maybe I didn't see coming with that was what you said about my relationship with Erica. That was something that maybe, because we're just, you just, when you're so wrapped up in something, like, you can't really, like, it's difficult to take space to look in from the outside and be like, oh. So yeah, you definitely gave me that perspective.
And if someone else was to cover this song, who would you want it to be and why? You do reserve the right to say no one should ever cover this song if you want to.
Yeah. The only band that I could think of was actually a band born here in Scotland. I think of a bunch of Latin American and Spanish university students in Edinburgh. It's called Latina Turner's Band. Latina Turner's Band, right? I love it. It's so creative. Latina Turner's Band. Because it's like, La is the in Spanish, Tina Turner's Band, right? Like the Tina Turner's Band. And Latina, of course, Latin, right? Latina Turner's Band. So it's just beautiful. Those guys,
Beautiful.
I've been really impressed by them. Yeah, I've been really impressed by them. I think they would be, I'd like to hear them do, I feel intrigued by the idea of them doing a cover of El Chan Chan. I think they would do it justice. Yeah.
Okay. If you're listening, guys, challenge thrown down.
I'll throw it to them.
And MJ,
I know a couple of the members, so I'll throw it to them.
Fantastic. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Looking back on what we shared, because we're starting to come to the end of our conversation now, but before we do, looking back on what we've shared, the song, your story, the memories it carries, is there anything that stands out for you most right now, or anything new that's come up at all?
Definitely what you said about my relationship with Erica and how it helps to like symbolize and put a little bit of definition on everything that Erica and I are doing. That's something new that I will absolutely be taking away with me from this, and I'm going to share it with Erica as well. Yeah, I think just like warmth and accompaniment, warmth and accompaniment and beauty. Yeah.
Yeah. And this song has been your companion for many years, so I'm glad it brings you so much joy. And thank you for bringing this song and for bringing yourself so openly as always. It's been a gift to share this time with you. And before we close, where can people find you, follow your work, connect with you?
LinkedIn, just my name, Marc-John Brown. Hopefully you'll make my name available in the episode and show notes. Instagram, MarcJohnBrown, and Facebook, MarcJohn.Brown. And also nativewisdomhub.com, it's not, entirely music related, but yeah, we're ceremonial healers, retreat leaders. Check us out, nativewisdomhub.com.
I will do. And I will absolutely drop the link to Native Wisdom Hub in there as well. MJ, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, brother. Been a pleasure.
It's our time. It's our time. It's our time.